Hello everyone, welcome to Mindspeak on Herald Global. I am Saimik Sen. Joining us today, one of the most versatile actors and a renowned theatre artist, Mr. Adil Hussain. Welcome to Herald Global. I would like to begin by asking you from Assam to Bollywood and then to international films. How would you define your journey?
I don't know what to say actually, because it just happened. I never dreamt of being where I am. I just was in love with acting. I kept acting, and one thing happened after the other, and I'm here. It had been an amazing journey. It had been a journey of a lot of insights, a lot of reflection, I must say, and a lot of search has gone into it as well. I guess if I can put it probably in a few words, it would be that I had been intensely curious about what I was doing in terms of the craft of acting, and its dilemmas and problems, and the relationship between acting in life and acting in a given space. For me, what I have so far, it's again it is subject to change, but as of now, I look at acting as a person who does an action.
Okay.
And now action is not necessarily a physical action. Speaking is also an action. Thinking, thoughts are very subtle actions. Emotions which are being expressed through body, through thought, through words, through action are also loud actions. So the intense curiosity which led to understand, and still I'm nowhere near understanding it fully at all. Probably that resulted into going deeper into the craft, and probably that is the reason that people, those who have hired me to act in the films, still hire me, and they think that I'm doing a decent job. I haven't planned anything. I really have no strategy, didn't have any strategy. I don't have any strategy. I don't have an agent in India. Hollywood, I have one, because without that, you cannot get work. That's how it works there. So I'm forced to have an agent. Yeah, it had been an amazing, I'm very grateful to the divine. I'm grateful to people, those who have helped me, my teachers, my friends.
How do you choose the script if you don't have a strategy in place? What are the things that you look in a script?
First of all, scripts, they find their way in. Maybe there are so many scripts that they probably want me, they haven't found their way in. So the scripts, those who have found their way into my computer or in my hand, amongst those that I choose, right? So they choose me first. And then I first of all look at the story, if the story makes sense to me, if it has got any relevance, and if it is saying something which I haven't talked about or we haven't talked about before in that way. There could be, say, there could be 20 films on the same subject as well. So it's not about the theme only, but also the way it has been narrated, the craft of narration, and the interpersonal relationships between the characters. If those are not layered or thrashed out in an organic way, that it makes sense to me, it is credible to me, it has got a deep human connection, the way that I look at life, it has to somehow personally make sense to me. It is always subjective, always subjective. I do not go by other people's suggestions at all. I'm a difficult person that way. And it is very difficult to influence me. My parents could not. Yeah, there are only few people that I have submitted to who I thought are amazing human beings in every sense of the word, not only as acting teachers but also as human beings. And their influence was not because they wanted to influence me, because I loved their philosophy. I love the way they conduct their personal life. lives. So choosing a script is also that what they have done before, the director, the producers, the production unit, the production team, the HODs, because very limited time I have left, right? I'm already 55 plus. So I rather spend time, where I find it is worthy. Or I would rather spend time with with my wife and our child, with friends, than going to a set and thinking, what am I doing here?
You don't look
So, yeah,
like 55 at all.
no, I have more than 55.
Since you're talking about your journey, I mean, you must have seen everything. With the success of movies like Axon, The Village Rockstar, which are primarily based on Northeast. So, do you think the Hindi film industry has been become more welcoming towards the Northeastern actors in recent time?
I guess so. It's better than before, but I don't think it is nowhere near where it could be.
Okay.
Or I should be is a very strong word, but it could do better. I think that Hindi film industry, the other film industries from the South, should have been more aware of including Northeastern actors purposely, owing probably to the diversity of Indian subcontinent, knowing that Northeastern people are not forthcoming in terms of they're shy, they keep it to themselves a little bit. Also, the fact that geographically we are in one corner of the country,
Yes.
and the communication, I'm talking about infrastructural communication, hadn't been great since the beginning of independence. Now things are changing, but just seen yesterday, the train lines had been washed away by the flood waters in Assam, in Northeast. So knowing all these, also politically, I think filmmakers, producers, production houses should be a little more aware that how can we bring the entire country together. The intent of making films, definitely we need a lot of money to make films, so we should get the money back. But at the same time, there is a social responsibility. I think that the filmmakers, producers, especially people, those who put in the money, they can be more aware, and they could have included Northeastern faces more in the past. And it is happening now, but I think it is a drop in the ocean.
You have done different theatrical mediums, including OTT, cinema, then stage. What do you enjoy the most?
Theater. You see, theater is a place where it's very inexpensive to practice the craft. You don't need much money to put up a theater. When I say theater means I'm not talking about large auditoriums only. I'm just talking about in my living room. I can put up a play and I can invite 20 people here and give them a cup of tea and torture them with my performance. So theater is a space where I get to rehearse for as long as I want. There is no deadline. I can come to a very fine aspect of my performance. I can go deeper. I can go wider and larger. I can create the whole world of the role that I'm playing, since I have the luxury of time to prepare. And that part is the most important part. The performance part of it also is very satisfactory, also because it happens and it's the immediacy and the and the other word in English is ephemeral. It just disappears, and it is in the memory of the people, and they get to sort of go back and reflect upon what they have seen. Like, for example, you and I are talking now over it's a medium,
Yes, yes.
which is, it's electronic medium. Though it seemed like we are talking to each other, but imagine that we are actually meeting and having this interview face to face in person.
Sure.
Nowadays, it's called offline, uh, which is very interesting name. It would be a very different quality of this interview. So till the day we human beings still cherish the human to human connection in person, theater will always remain I think the best way of presenting the craft of acting. Because one human being on the stage, a living, breathing organism, is the way it emanates and radiates energies and transmits it to the other. Again, the others are also complex human organisms waiting to receive. They have willingly come. Nobody had put a gun on their head to come.
Yes.
So that palpability, that intensity of equation and communication which happens between a performer and the person who is witnessing the performance or the audience is unique. It can never happen between a cinema and audience members.
Sure.
The cinema audience members have a different connection because also the camera can goes very close and it can capture each and every moment very in a nuanced way. But the connection which happens, I've seen amazing theater and I've seen amazing films. But when I see a piece of theater, a good piece of theater, not a piece of theater, really, like I've seen few pieces of theater in Western Europe, in Italy as well, in Eastern Europe as well as in Italy in Western Europe. It has just transformed me and changed me. The degree of changes, the degree of impact. I'm not saying cinema doesn't cinema impacts deeply, but the degree and the quality of impact is way more than a film can ever do.
You have won the National Award Special Jury Mention for Mukti Bhavan and Majrata Ketaki in the same year. So how different were these roles to each other?
Oh, very different roles. One was a very successful novelist who is coming back home and trying to sort of find his roots in a way, going back to his villages where he grew up. Very sophisticated, extremely learned, extremely educated, having PhD and all that. The other one is a small town insurance office clerk, very lower middle class, and having lower middle class values, physically very different, look-wise very different. The software inside is absolutely differently wired. It cannot be more different. It's very, very different. And I was very pleasantly surprised that the National Award jury members have recognized the difference in portraying these two different roles. Yeah.
So what kind of role National School of Drama play in your journey?
It changed me. It transformed me. I would say that it is probably a place where I was reborn as a person, as a person who is seeking to act well. And I owe most of whatever I'm doing now to my teachers at the National School of Drama. Very, very dear friends they are as well now. Arjun Raina and Khalid Teyabji, Barry John, Nasiruddin Shah, Maya Rao, Niva Joshi ma'am, Robin Das. They're amazing. Raghunandan ji from Karnataka. They're amazing, amazing human beings, wonderful teachers. And I was a very obedient student as well, because I joined NSD at the age of 27 and I know that my time was running out. So I put in my heart and soul into it. I did not waste time much. I did, of course, but not much. I had the advantage of being a little mature than the rest of the classmates of mine. They were like in their early 20s. So I have already done a lot of films in Assam and street plays and, stand-up comedy, radio plays and telefilms and whatnot. So when I came here, I had this wealth of experience, and then to start from zero to understand the craft of acting was difficult in the beginning, but I had great teachers. They really hold my hand and took me and brought me here where I am today.
How did Life of Pi happen to you?
It just happened to me. I'm sitting in this room, actually. I remember the day I got a call from my dearest friend, Dilip Shankar, who is a casting director. He called me and said that, would you like to come and read a scene tomorrow? And if you want, I can mail you the scene today if you want. I said, yeah, please mail me the scene so that I read the scene before I go and record. And then I realized it's Life of Pi. And I was like, whoa, wow. So I read it well, learned my lines, and went to to his place where he played the son. The scenes were from the interaction between me and Pi. So I went and he played the son behind the camera, and we recorded 2 scenes, 1 take each scene. And he said, okay, done. I said, let me do it once more. He said, no, no, it's good. You don't worry. You just go. And after a week, I got a call in the middle of the night from New York, from the main casting director, who is A.V. Kaufman. She's a very famous casting director in Hollywood. And she said that Ang Lee would like to meet me in Bombay. I said, okay, sure, I'll be there. And then I met him for an hour and we talked about a lot of things about acting, methods of acting. And he was interested in Grotowski. That's another Polish theater scholar, actors, trainer, philosopher who I was very influenced by. So we knew each other. So both of us, we knew him in a sense, knew his work. And then after a week, I got a call from the production asking me how much they would pay me for the role. I'd have done it free of cost anyway. So
how was the experience working with Ang Lee?
see, that was my early time, like my second or third movie was Life of Pi, which is after National School of Drama, of course. And I haven't been exposed to international cinema at all. So this was the first Hollywood project, $110 million budget. The surprise started when they sent me the script 2.5 months before. They sent me the crutch from California, parceled me to practice to walk on my crutch. Then they got me a French teacher in Delhi from there, to teach me French. And then they sent me the schedule probably 2 months before, what time I'll be picked up by the driver on the day of the shoot, the rest time and the rehearsal time and costume, makeup trial time. And all. So I was totally like, this is how they work. They're so meticulously professional, if I can say that. And Ang Lee, as a person, when I first met him, I guess till today, I think he's the humblest film director that I've ever met so far. He whispers very gently. He's like a Buddha sitting in the chair, on the chair, and never says anything loudly to anybody. Loves his co-actor, loves his actors, loves his co-workers. Doesn't matter what rank they're from. That idea of feudalism doesn't exist in the set. They're very professional. They understand everybody's job, and they just do it. In India suffers from feudalism, unfortunately, in every sphere of life, and which also can be seen in the film sets as well. So the hierarchy is not governed by feudalism, but hierarchy is governed by professional merit of the job that we are doing. So working with such professionals, high-end professionals, is a blessing, is a learning process, is eye-opening. And I cannot thank them enough for giving me that experience of working with them.
So how different is the work culture as compared to what is happening out here in Bollywood?
Talent-wise, I guess there is no dearth of talent here or there. We have amazingly talented people. Probably, if not more, equally good. The work culture is so different, and also probably the people, those who put in the money in the film industry, they need to, I think, orient themselves towards professional filmmaking more. I think that also directors and especially writers. The writing part, I would say, needs more work. I don't see good writing very often. Rather, very seldom I see very good writing. When I see these series, even made in Turkey or Scandinavia or Israel or even in South American series, of course, there are amazing series. There are trash also is being made in Hollywood, but But there are amazing series also made in from America, even England, Western Europe. So writing is one of the areas that I find it we need to really work very hard to get to really. Put ourselves in the map of good writing, which is technically we are pretty good. Technically, we have amazing cinematographers, amazing directors also. But the directors need little more freedom from being dictated by the people, those who put in the money. They need to be trusted more. They need to be more space to explore themselves. And the attitude of chalta hai has to go. We need to take our business a little more seriously. If a director wants a specific piece of cloth or texture for a role, for a character, for a costume or something they need behind, a particular color, the director wants it, or if the director wants it, it should be respected if they can afford it. So, work culture wise, I think we still need to pull our socks together. And
What has been your most challenging role so far?
most roles are challenging to portray it deeply, very convincingly. Having said that, there was one role in a film called Orunadai. It's a Marathi film, which was on Netflix. And the English name is Sunrise. I had no idea how to play that because I didn't know the magnitude of pain that the father, who is a cop, whose daughter, when she was 10 years old, was kidnapped 10 years ago. So now she was 20. And being a cop, he's in a missing person squad. He works there but could not find his daughter. And the wife, my wife in the film, she has lost her emotional, mental balance to face that, coming home, defeated father, failed cop, and the pain of not being able to find his daughter. So I had no idea how to do it. And things happened. Something very, very magical happened in the process of not knowing how to do it. Probably that is the most important space that one could be in, that you don't know how to do it and you allow things to happen. And the goddess of creativity took me over and took over me and possessed me and made me do and made me its instrument. And it worked out well, and it was appreciated across the globe very much by amazing critics from across the globe. And
so, what other interests do you have apart from acting?
well, I used to sketch when I was a kid. Then I got busy with acting and theater, gave that up. I haven't tried yet. I did one oil portrait because I had to do it for a film in a shot. I did it. It turned out well. I love cooking. I do a lot of cooking at home. I also cooked in restaurants, 2 restaurants twice in Delhi and in Sikkim. Apart from that, probably I could have been a good singer as well, but I haven't practiced it. My friends say that I could have been, and I could have been a good dancer as well had I put in. I loved Kathakali, and one of my dear friend who passed away, I practiced the basics of ballet when I was in my 20s, no, in my 30s. She said, if you put in 6 years, you'll be a great ballet dancer. But never happened. Yeah, probably that.
So please tell us about your future projects.
Oh, lots of projects actually. In fact, just now, just before I started, I got a message that Geo has just announced the film we just finished shooting called The Storyteller.
Okay.
It's a story written by Satyajit Ray, and in the lead is Paresh Rawal and me, and 2 more actors, the female actors, Revati from South India, the amazing director and actor, and Tanishta Chatterjee is a dear friend and amazingly talented actor. There's one which is being launched in probably a couple of hours from now, a trailer launch in Cannes Film Festival called The Footprints on Water. There is another film called The Postman. The other film we just finished shooting called The Sergeant in the UK, just finished shooting that. Then Delhi Crime 2, and then I did another one Netflix series and one Zip. It's a lot, 11 of them, 10 of them. One got released, Bell Bottom. I'm talking about from 2020 August till 10 days ago. I had been shooting one film after the other. There is one more film called Max, Min and Miyazaki, which is a brilliant story.
Anything you would like to say to the young artists who want to foray into acting? Your suggestions?
My standard suggestion is that, first of all, to find out whether you really love acting. Like, for example, there are wrong casting, which is quite often the directors do, cast a wrong actor for a role, and then the director of the story suffers. Similarly, in the story of life, have I cast myself in the right role? Would I like to play the role of an actor in life? So to find that out, if one can imagine that for next 20 years, I will keep searching and I will keep learning acting without getting paid and without getting recognized. If the answer is yes, and then I think nobody can stop you. You have to be in love with it. It doesn't matter whether you get paid or you are being recognized or not. If you need recognition and money if you start thinking in those terms, you can go ahead and pursue it, but you may not get it. And then you will not be happy because it is not what you really love to do. So then depression and other things come in. The consequences are there. And if you love what you do, then you'll always be happy. At least you will be happier, if not the happiest. Even if you get paid, it's bonus. If you get name, it's another bonus. But at least you'll be doing what you love to do. So finding that out is, I think, of prime significance. And after that, you try to go deeper into the craft that you chose to. It's a craft. It's if you want to be an actor, also depends on what kind of actor you want to become. If you want to sing like Mr. Bhimsen Joshi, then you have to put in at least 40 years, of your life into it. There are a lot of modern singers, very good singers, including from Kishore Kumar to Mohammad Rafi to current singers. Most of them names I don't know now, but there are amazing songs that I keep hearing. But for any of them to sing like Bhimsen Joshi, you have to put 20, 25 years. But for Bhimsen Joshi, he will sing it in a minute. The modern songs, it depends on what kind of an actor you want to become. You want to become an actor who can only play one kind of roles, or put on some mustache and put on some weight and just, change the hardware. That's okay. But if you want to change the software, which is inner change, to play a role, to embody a role, then it is a craft. It is very, very systematically one has to learn. But at the same time, it is not the same for everyone. The system has to be designed. It has to customize. So you have to find the right teacher, the right school, the right environment. Not necessarily one has to go to an institution like National School of Drama. It is very good to go there. And from there, it is easier when you go there. But otherwise, I would say that you find somebody and put in the hard work and go for it. Don't think of what is going to happen to you or, in next 5 years or 6 years. Put in 20 years and see how you feel about it.
Thank you so much for your time. It was very, very
Pleasure.
lovely talking.